Drummers I Like podcast, episode number 19. Aha. Hey everybody, welcome to the podcast. Man, I cannot believe we've made it to 19 episodes, Kevin.
I agree. I can't believe that we're one click away from 20 when it feels like 10 was just like 3 podcasts ago.
It was probably
Yeah,
was. It was only 9 ago,
but
so it
we're not
just feels
according to
like
the
it just moved
numbers.
fast.
Not according to the numbers.
So hey everybody, as usual, this is Richard Ducat coming in from the Drummers I Like Santa Monica headquarters, and that's right, you heard Kevin on the other line. We are so stoked to be back. Kevin, how have you been this week, dude? You just went through the most serious of serious hurricanes.
Well, I'm just glad to be back. I'm glad everything is back to normal here. But we got really lucky. It only like kind of skirted us here on the East Coast where I'm at. But it kind of collided with like St. Augustine and I know Georgia and North Carolina. They're having massive flooding and all sorts of nasty stuff from it. So we really were extremely lucky considering it was a Category 4 as it was kind of coming by our coast here. But we fared really well. Just some downed trees and a little bit of cleanup. Not too bad. Power was out for some people for a few days at the most. So we've had much worse, as Richard can well know. He's been here for a few too. So
Mm, yeah, I was thinking, damn, the last hurricane that happened in Florida that was a big deal was, is it Sandy?
well, now Wilma was really the last one, and that was in '05, I think.
Right, I just
That was
remember
the
it
last
being,
one to
yeah,
like really affect us right here. So.
I think I was a senior in high school, and I got off school for 2 months. Like, ridiculous, no school for so long. Ugh.
I doubt it was 2 months, but I believe you.
It was at least a month, whatever. It was so long, and,
Yeah. Well, I mean, a lot of times during those runs, people wouldn't have power for a couple of weeks. So I guess it's a testament to the Florida Power and Light that they have made some improvements because it literally was like my house like lost power for 12 hours. I stayed with my parents, and by the time I came back to check on my house, I had power the next day, and it was like, okay, wow, there we go.
well,
So
shout out
ain't
to
gonna argue with that.
FPL.
Yeah,
Shout out, shout
right.
out to FPL. You keep the power alive, but you still seem to send people $300 bills for 200 square foot apartment.
No, I had that problem with the city here in my area, but with
You know what?
FPL,
No, you're right.
I can't complain. It's the
Yeah,
city that
yeah. I have to extract that comment. It actually isn't FPL. You're right. It was the city that I always dealt problems with.
yeah. So City of Vero Beach, how's that for your shout out?
Kiss my ass.
Anyways, I guess we should get into our show here. We are an actual drumming podcast and not just a
Yep.
bickering podcast. So
Yep.
so I'm glad to be back. I'm glad it's all over with, and I'm especially glad to get back to drummers I like. So.
I know. Me too, man. I felt we took a little hiatus for a couple days to kind of focus on the important. Well, you did. I didn't have to, luckily.
Yeah.
No earthquakes yet, but
Thank goodness.
yeah, I'm going to dip out of here before something like that happens.
Right.
Yeah, so why don't you tell the good old listeners who our guest of today is?
Well, today we have Charlie Engen, right? Is that right? Does that sound right?
I
I
think
think
that's
that's
the
how we
correct
say
way
his
to
name.
say it. Right.
Engen. I guess we'll find out. But yeah, super stoked to have him on. I mean, he plays an ideology which are awesome. If you haven't checked him out, make sure to go give him some love. And this dude is like he's got it all. I mean, he's got everything. He's technique, and he covers all aspects, groove, whether it be just simple 2 and 4 stuff, linear stuff. He's got crazy good footwork. He uses his cymbals really tastefully. I mean, and you kind of go on and on. So you know how it goes.
Yeah, absolutely. I've kind of got lost in his Instagram. His videos are just insane.
Easy to do. Easy to do.
We're getting like super fortunate over here at Drummers Elective, and getting not only super high, I feel like we've got some superstar drummers on, but I'm not saying that Charlie here isn't a superstar, but I wouldn't consider him on the level of fame from people like Matt Halpern yet. I consider his playing definitely on that level
He's on,
for
yeah,
sure.
he's definitely a drummer on the rise. Definitely a drummer
He's
on
get
the rise.
he's dude.
But
I look at him and I see him being like huge. He's gonna get huge.
yeah. Oh, absolutely. Another nice thing is he's got all these amazing drumming abilities, but as you can also tell from his Instagram, he's got a really good setup to be able to film himself. He's always got a foot cam going, which always looks cool, so you can really see what he's doing. The mix sounds good. You can hear his drums. He does playthroughs with his band. He does, I mean, he's doing it all the right way.
Yeah, I was gonna say when I look at him, he literally resembles everything that I think an aspiring musician who wants to make it in whatever they play. It could be any instrument, but that's really the approach you need to take, and that's what I'm stoked to talk about today. Really am.
Well, and I think what sets him apart too is that then when you get into it, that unbelievable prowess he has on the kit. I mean, it's just I just sit there and just kind of watch him and lose myself. Like you say, lose yourself in his Instagram. I mean, you just keep watching and you just nasty grooves, and like I said, whether it be some sort of cool, backbeat related groove that just got cool stuff going on, or
He
whether
can do
it's
it
him
all.
playing with some of his linear chops. You know what I mean? It's crazy. It's crazy good. Can't wait
I
to get to
just
the show.
Yeah, just to add again, I like his ability to groove. He's got so much pocket, and he can just shred metal. It's insane.
Oh yeah, and
That
blast
takes
beats.
a
I
lot,
mean,
man.
there's another like we were
All those
saying. Then
different
he gets,
techniques are hard.
oh, like I said, he's a blast beating monster too. On top of all that we already talked about. So, it's very cool. Very good drummer. Super stoked to have him on. Can't wait to hear what he has to talk about.
All right, well, we're showing him a lot of love, so let's just get this thing started and bring him on.
Good idea.
All right, guys, for your listening pleasure, Charlie Engen. Here we go. Man, I am so stoked for today's show because we have with us Charlie Engen. Charlie plays for Meinl, Vratum Shoes, and Drum Dial. And if you haven't heard about him, which I highly doubt it, you need to get on Instagram right now. Like, seriously, pause the podcast, get on Instagram, go search him out at Charlie Engen, and see how serious his playing is because this dude's about to be the next big thing. Dude, Charlie, how are you today?
I'm good, man. Thanks for having me on.
Rob, man, glad to have you on.
Yeah, we finally made it happen.
Yeah, definitely.
Even up to the last minute, man, I almost felt like, oh, it's going to happen, it's going to happen. We got it.
Yep.
Cool, man. So, we are excited to have you today, and like every Drummers I Like episode, we would love to learn a lot about you. We want to know about your playing, your backstory, how you found music, and how you got to be the shred master you are today.
Yeah. Yeah, where do you want to start?
The very beginning.
Yeah,
That's what
there
I
you
feel.
go. The very beginning. How did it start for Charlie?
So, my uncles are both musicians on my mom's side, and one's a guitar player, one's a drummer, and he bought me a drum kit. The drummer one did when I was, I think, 2 for my second birthday. And
Nice.
so I started jamming, and during those days, like my parents were into like 80s rock stuff, and like late 80s. I was born in 85, and so it was a lot of like Slaughter, Skid Row, Winger Warrant, the whole kind of hair
Hair
band.
metal.
Nice.
Yeah,
Hair metal.
Motley Crue and stuff, and they would actually bring me to shows a lot when I was probably 4 and 5, I would imagine, because I remember a lot of Slaughter and Winger and Warrant, and Kiss a few times, and so it was pretty cool. And I used to jam to those albums, when I was young, 3, 4, 5, and then getting into like 4th grade, it was like Motley Crue, and kind of went a little heavier from there, and went to more like White Zombie and Tool and Pantera in like 95, 96, stuff like that. That was on our kind of our rock station, Megadeth, Metallica, and then from there went to the more proggy rock stuff like Rush, Dream Theater was huge. So that's kind of when I got heavily into drums, I would say, where I'd play, 3 to 5 hours a day, it seemed, after school. And I would just learn all the Dream Theater and Tool and Rush and all those types of bands. And I'd learn it all, by ear, note for note. And I took a few lessons, learned some, just little style things. And I remember learning like some Songo stuff and doing a lot of rudiments and, the reading thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so that took me into high school. And, I kind of just went from there. I was just into learning music, like Liquid Tension Experiment. And then it branched way off into, like, I was into Weckl and Basio and Chambers and Kala Yuta. And, I just kind of listened to anything where the drumming was crazy.
Reaching back. Now, did you do like marching band or any band like in school or anything like that?
Yeah, I played saxophone when I was younger in like 5th and 6th grade, and then I quit until 10th grade. I joined back up and did marching and concert band for drums.
Okay, cool. Very cool. So you got the marching chops in there too. Did you play snare or were you a tenor guy? Or?
I did both. I did we had tri-toms. We didn't even play quad toms, but I did tri-toms and snare. I kind of went back and forth.
Tri-toms. That's kind of old school. I remember tri-toms from back in the day.
I know. That's what I thought at the time too. But yeah, we played the tris.
Hey, if that's what you had, that's what you had. It's just imagine like you strap on 3 tom-toms basically.
Yeah, exactly. I mean?
But of course now it's like there's quints and I mean, I don't even know. There's like 8 of them now. I mean, they'll have like the 4 spread and then they'll have like the 2 small ones in the center and it's
exactly.
Really cool.
That would be fun to play on.
yeah, right. Imagine the things you could do if you were good on tri-toms, on one of those.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Absolutely. So kind of from there, how did you branch out? You were listening to heavier stuff, you were getting, more into prog stuff.
Yep, and I was really in high school. I was really into and even before high school, like middle school, high school, I was into like Marco Miniman and Virgil Donati and Basio again, and like I loved solo drumming and like the aspect of it. But I've always been more of a physical player and I wouldn't say straight ahead, but kinda, like I've always had an element of like a snare backbeat of some sort. And so I kind of tried to mix the two worlds and, just experiment. I loved big drum kits, so I'd throw a million different sounds on my set and see what I could do. And it just kind of stemmed from that. And then I just naturally progressed into whatever I, evolved into being at the time of like late teens, early 20s. I went to college then for a year at music school for drums and got like a diploma. And then I kind of separated from that. I was teaching in this time too, like late teens into early 20s, and then
teaching drums.
Teaching drums only at the time, and then went into college. Left college, was trying to do some session stuff. I did a little bit, and would just jam with people in different bands. I had a band at the time that was like a crazy prog. It was like a prog metal band, but we'd mix in tons of styles, and it was like almost Primus meets metal, and so I don't even know. It was super cool.
Sounds fun.
Yeah. I have a recording of it, like a 5-song demo. Maybe one time I'll put a snippet up on the internet sometime. It's pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, it sounds like it'd be fun to listen to.
Yeah. And then I went back to school. Long story short, then in my 20s, I just kept playing as much as I could, obviously, and played whatever I felt like, so it would change and go from different styles to then music stuff. But then I went and got my bachelor's at 25, finished that when I was like 28, and then got my master's in music performance for percussion, and I finished that last December.
Wow, that's
you've
been a busy man.
Yeah, so it's been drums since the beginning, really.
That's awesome. I mean, that definitely explains. I was talking to Richard kind of before we all got together here, and I was just saying, as I watch you, it's one spot after the other. You're just proficient in every aspect, and it just shows. You know what I mean? It's just very, very cool. Very cool.
I appreciate that.
I mean, you can go a million ways. I mean, did you always keep a really regimented practice kind of regiment going? I mean, were you real disciplined on how you practiced and kind of how you did through that? Or
I would say yes, in a general sense, because I would just play a lot, so I didn't really like have to force myself to play, and like keep behind the kit. But I didn't go through too many phases of like, all right, it's 45 minutes of rudiments, 45 minutes of groove, and 45 minutes of playing to a tune or something. But I did a little bit, I think we all do at some time. We're like, all right, I'm going to stick to some schedule here. But I've always been really good about just playing. And these last, I'd say, I mean, once I got out of college, it all kind of changed too, because during school I was forced, not necessarily forced, but I would fixate on things and have to practice certain tunes for the ensembles, or then I'd get into some jazz coordination studies or something. But yeah, I've always been really good about staying behind the kit and not having too many lapses in wanting to play.
Yeah. I mean, how early on did you learn to read?
Uh, Pretty early, as far as having the ability to. Sight reading wise, I didn't get good until I'd say high school. But yeah, I first lessons I must have been about 12.
Okay. Yeah. And you just kind of develop just develop from there.
Yeah, exactly. And I didn't do a ton of reading in high school, other than just what I wanted to look up or whatever.
Sure.
But it wasn't a huge thing. That was my biggest struggle going into college, was sight reading, like crazy reading examples. I'd feel pretty mortal at those.
Yeah, no, I understand.
Well, I do now too. I shouldn't even say that. I think I'm worse now than I was then. I rarely do it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it is easy to step away from. I mean, when I was going through school, I didn't play drums. I played trombone, but I can remember you'd had to go through the like the sight reading portion of like the concert festivals or concert band.
Oh yeah,
And you'd go and you'd play like three pieces for the judge, out, that were prepared pieces, and they'd grade you, based on
yeah.
those, and then you went into the room, and it was like they gave you a march and something else, and you had like so many minutes to review the march and so many minutes to review
Yep.
the overture, and then you had to dive in, and yeah, it was always pretty interesting.
No doubt. We called them juries in college.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, those are some stressful moments when you
they
get
are.
the thing thrown at you.
Yeah, but you know what? I mean, I think, depending on how well prepared you are, then you just break it down and it's all stuff you've already seen. It's just it's tough to not get wrapped up in the moment, and that's important.
Exactly. Yeah, and I think the older you get, for me, that's what I find. It's so much easier for me now to like. I just have my methods about learning a groove. So if it's like a super techie groove that's written out in front of me, I'll just look at the right hand and memorize that super fast. And then, I'll just look for any repeating patterns I see. And then obviously then it's, like put them in my memory bank. And then if there's like my left hand or something has to do some crazy busy stuff that's a little improvised feeling, I'll just go from there.
Yeah. When you're doing all, trying to learn a techie groove like that, do you tend to write it out or try and break it down, by looking at notation, or do you still like going and kind of attacking it by ear?
I write everything out now. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
mean, if it's that hard, most stuff I can figure out by ear pretty fast, I would say. But if it's a crazy, like a Matt Gartzka type groove where it almost feels improvised or something,
Hmm.
then I'll break it down and go slowly through it. Or if it's like Meshuggah where it's like super long phrases, yeah,
Yeah,
I'll write everything
you
out.
almost have to. I mean, how else are you going to do that?
Yeah,
It's
painstaking.
that's
I
crazy.
can't believe I used to do that with like Dream Theater. I guess isn't so bad looking back now, but then it blew my mind because before that it was Rush, and then
Yeah,
Dream Theater. I was like, wow, this is just gnarly how they do the complexity of the song structures.
yeah, absolutely. So tell us a little bit about ideology and kind of how that
Yeah,
all got going.
that started in I think we figured out it was 2012 when Mike Salo, the guitar player, graduated. We had a class together at McNally Smith here at Music College, and we didn't know each other, but we knew of each other. And he asked me, long story short, he asked me to do a prog metal thing with him because he was kind of doing more fusion and stuff. And he was going to move, but if I was willing to do that, he was going to stay around here and not bail to Chicago. And so we started writing it then, actually. And he had a few tunes written, um, the song "Eyes Up" and Bliss were both pretty much written then as they are now. And so we just started jamming, me and him, and made some demos, and I programmed the drums for him. And this carried on from 2012 through, honestly, through last year, through the beginning of 2015. And it took forever to get that thing off the ground. You know, finding musicians who were willing to commit, finding the sound we really wanted. And yeah, that's how it started, though, was just me and him demoing tunes. We wrote everything, guitars and drums and bass, and then brought in the vocalist Wesley, and he wrote his own parts, and we basically let him have free reign. So yeah, basically that album got written as it is now in early 2015, and then we recorded it October kind of through January, February, March of and even April of 2016.
Okay.
Yeah, we did it all in-house. I recorded drums at my house. Everybody recorded their parts at their houses or here. And then, yeah, Wesley mixed and mastered it, and it was something.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds awesome. It sounds amazing. I enjoy it thoroughly. So
Yeah,
anything
awesome.
I've heard, I've definitely enjoyed listening to. So
Great.
Same here. Same here. Really been enjoying it.
Yeah, we're happy. Response has been super positive, so that's been nice.
Very cool.
Very cool. Very good. We hope that it continues to be so. What I'm really curious
Yeah.
what I'm really curious about, Charlie, is, you know, while you're doing all this hard work to just focus on your career and be this amazing drummer that you are, and you have this great band that you're doing at the same time, I'm very curious on how you found so much time to really put in all the efforts and, you know, work into your marketing and gaining all your online notoriety. I mean, you're huge online, and it really shows that hard work and determination can pay off. I'm very curious on your process in that world, and, you know, where it all started.
Yeah, almost literally a year ago. As a matter of fact, it's almost to the day. I think if I looked up that video, I think it was the 12th or something of October last year. Really, the only reason I did it, I was never a big Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube guy. I had some Facebook videos that I had done when I helped a city build a studio or whatever, and we tested it out with some high quality stuff. And so I had a few videos floating around, but they were just improvised solos, and then or like me playing live tunes with crappy quality.
Okay.
So yeah, this whole Instagram thing started literally a year ago. And I just wanted mainly to have a time capsule, if you will, of my playing, because I was like not really happy with where I was on the, you know, I don't know how to put it, on the spectrum of like people knowing who I am at all. And so I wanted to have like an encapsulation of my playing that was a little more organized than like a YouTube. So I wanted to attack it with the small clips because it was 15 seconds back then.
Yeah.
So literally I just started with grooves, and I figured drummers would dig it. You know, I've gotten enough like comments from people who see me play or whatever, and like, oh, you're crazy, you should be recording this stuff, or who do you play with? And so I just wanted to start small with little jams just for fun. And then honestly, it took off right away, like with just people sharing it and liking it or whatever. And so then it kind of turned into, for me, like a practice regime, because I would literally sit down, and the 15-second video would stem from me sitting down, coming up with an idea, and basically jamming on that idea until it kind of had a form. So with 15 seconds, it was tougher because you kind of had to do a quick intro, a little jam, and then an outro or something like that.
Those days.
And yeah, and I can't believe that was the norm then. It's crazy now. I wouldn't know how to like finish an idea, but
yeah, right.
So yeah, it just kind of just evolved from that. It turned into like practice sessions. So my practice session would basically be me sitting down, coming up with a groove that was kind of improvised at the time, but then I would craft it as the hour or 2 hour session went on in my basement. And honestly, I run the most simple recording setup. It's just a Focusrite 18i20 with 8 mics hooked up that are, you know, different Sennheisers and Audix, and just normal mics. And then I run into Pro Tools, and then I just have a few GoPros. So yeah, the first 2 months I put a ton of time in, though, sitting with headphones on and critiquing my tones and crafting them basically.
Yeah.
So that helped a lot.
I mean, did it instantly? Was it kind of instantly on with that many mics, or because I've heard some guys, and even some listen to some other podcasts, and I've heard guys mention that a lot of times they'll only maybe use two or three mics, on a setup, and depending on the room and how you have it set up, they can, they normally sound pretty good. But just curious if you just went straight in with all those mics.
I did, yeah. I went in with just I only use two overheads, and they're pencil mics. They're the Sennheiser 614s, so they're more, I think, designed to be put like on a ride or hats.
Sure.
But yeah, I ran those two, and then I just mic'd every tom, and then one on the kick and one on the snare. Which the snare with one mic on the top is kind of a nightmare. It's nice to have two, to fill out that snare, especially with like my ears really enjoy the thick kind of full, a little bit of, it sounds reverby to a lot of people. It doesn't sound super reverby to me, but that thick kind of, I don't know, 80s sound almost, but modern metal meets 80s, I guess.
Like real fat back, kind of just like thwacking kind of.
Exactly. Yeah, which is actually kind of the new norm now. Like the Periphery dudes are making that snare sound kind of be the norm.
Yeah, that's true. I've always been kind of a little bit of a higher guy myself, but you're absolutely right. It is kind of, but things move in fads though too, as we've seen in almost everything. So you never know.
Very true.
You never know what might be next.
Yeah, it's also, it's funny because at the same time that metal is super like plush and thick and like kind of beautiful sounding, where you can hear every instrument super well. At the same time though, this like old school kind of throwback 60s, throw up the mics and get a good room mix is popular too. So.
Oh yeah, no, I know. 'Cause I play in a kind of a, I don't know, I guess you could call it like a beat down kind of band. We just have a lot of fun. But a guy we recorded with plays with a few. It's kind of like beat down meets kind of that more that real New York hardcore kind of feel.
Yeah, yeah.
And they're taking, what is it? They're taking one of the Boss Stomp pedals. I forgot. Now I'm going to draw a blank on exactly which pedal it is. I think it's called the Metalhead.
Yeah, Metal Zone, or
no, it isn't Metal Zone.
Oh, okay.
Because I know exactly what you're talking about, but it's like the Metal Head or something. It was kind of rare. And what these guys are doing is they're taking it and they're just like jacking the gain in these things all the way up, and it literally like makes a guitar sound like a buzz saw.
Oh,
you know
crazy.
what I mean? It's nuts sounding, but it's like, but everybody was using them, and it ended up being, it was like, this was a pedal that they stopped making because nobody wanted to get this awful pedal. And because of what they were doing with it, they like popularized it. And then you go on like eBay, and the pedals are like going for $200 and $300 a piece because you can't find them anymore, and everybody wants one, and it's wild.
That
crazy.
is.
Yeah, it's crazy. All comes full circle, Everybody's trying to reach back and get that really nasty, grungy sound.
Yeah, or at least something unique that you don't hear a lot of at the moment.
Yeah, exactly. But then everybody uses it, and somebody comes up with something different.
Yep.
Absolutely.
So to fully answer that question, I think I pretty much did with the Instagram stuff. Finding the time to do it, just that specific part of it, I don't think I touched on, is it's brutal, to be honest, especially like working full time. Like when I was in school, it was a lot easier because I found the time. But now I have to just really set aside an hour or two, and it's weird. I've gotten, like, my sessions have gotten longer and longer as this year has gone on, and I am so critical on my playing that I can guarantee you there's some days I record 200 takes of something and they all sound the same, but to me I can hear every one of them is different, and I wait till the last one, and I end up, I swear, on 90% of the videos you see, that's the last take I did that day. It's just ridiculous, but it's the way I am, and so I'm not going to put it out there if I don't think it's almost perfect in whatever perfect means for that groove or that style I'm playing.
Sure. Well, I mean, everyone I've seen always is excellent to watch, and it's enjoyable. So you're doing a good job. That's for sure.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
You seem to get something on at least once a day, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Lately, I've been going to more like 4 a week. But I try to record something every day, or at least I'll sit down some days and record like 4 or 5 of them in a day, maybe at tops, but usually it tends to be like two, depending on what I'm doing. Because a big thing is I try to not repeat myself too much as far as the overall idea, even though you can't help it if you're posting that many videos of basically solo drums, you're gonna kind of
Sure.
your style's gonna show,
Sure.
but
Yeah.
That's what makes Charlie Charlie though.
yeah, and that's the one thing I've came to terms with, which has been good over this last year, is like I don't need to sit down and reinvent the wheel every time. It's just, some jams come out a little more unique than others, or cool and a little more, I don't know, emotion or raw energy to them. But all in all, I found fighting it makes it worse, where it's just better to go with what you're doing at the time and feel what you're feeling, and then whatever it is, it is.
I find it very interesting because I put up a couple videos now a month. I was at one point trying to do the same thing, get a video up every day, and between work, drummers I like, everything else, I also have a 2-year-old. It just became really hard. So now I've got a little schedule where I do it like literally once a day or once every week.
Yeah.
It's on Fridays, and I have to do it at like 10 o'clock at night in my front yard.
Oh,
Like
sure.
I have like a little gated front yard. I bring my electronic kit outside and play outside, and
Oh,
all,
funny.
although relaxing, because I'm so critical of my playing, I think I've gone like 2 or 3 weeks now where I cut hour a night of video, and I don't want to use any of it, and that becomes very frustrating. I imagine when you do it every day, it becomes a little bit just remembering from doing it every day. It actually was a lot easier to get a video out every day because you have that ability to choose from a much bigger selection. But I too was starting to feel the pain of, damn, am I like playing the same stuff too much? I gotta back off here a little bit.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. And I think doing it once a week would actually be harder for me because and I guarantee you'll attest to this, that once you get going on that one night a week, now your ideas are flowing and you're like
Hmm.
spending your whole time just working out your ideas.
Yeah, I can see that.
Because some days I'll not do the video, like some days I'll jam and then the idea will come to me, but I have to like work it out to make it good, and then I'll do it the next day.
I see. I see. I see. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it is important to really sink your head into your passion like that every day, especially if you want to continually progress, because that flow does go away when you take that break every couple days. It really does.
Yeah.
It's interesting how you can't lose the muscle memory, that easily, but you can lose that pocket or that flow, that vibe.
It's like the comfort of it too, or something. Like there's more
Yeah.
to it. It's like a mental thing half the time, where you're like, ah, that wasn't that good, but in reality, it probably was all right. It's just that you're looking at it from a whole different, light than somebody else is going to be critiquing it.
Sure. Sure.
And we love to be our own worst enemy too.
Oh, absolutely. It's crazy. I mean, I think every musician's like that.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, maybe some let it affect us more than others, but I mean, it's definitely something that's talked about. So
Yep.
It definitely shows in the playing style. So, if you're out there doing Instagram videos, guys, I advocate to do as much as you can and not take many breaks.
Yeah, I would say that's better. 20 minutes a day is better than 2 hours one day, or whatever. I think that's a little more for your own sanity as well.
yeah,
I
absolutely.
agree. I take a page from Amir Uzman and play on my steering wheel as much as possible when I hit solids.
There you go.
Charlie, one thing I kind of wanted to bring up, going back to some of your Instagram posts too, is on a lot of your stuff, I like your notation that you put kind of in the video. And what do you use to create that? I mean, that's awesome. I love it because I read. I mean, I know there's a lot of guys that don't bother reading, but I really enjoy that because I like to see it written out in front of me.
Oh yeah, awesome. I'm glad, because I noticed those videos don't do as well as my other ones that are
Oh,
just like kind of sheer insanity, or more of like a, I don't know, a techie jam. But um, yeah, for those I just use a little program on my iPad called Symphony Pro,
okay.
and I actually don't really like the program that much, but it's pretty convenient because you can use your finger obviously to notate the parts. And
Yeah.
when we're just talking 2 bar examples or whatever,
Yeah.
yeah, I just type it out on that, and then I usually just screenshot it and airdrop it to my computer, and then just I use Avid Media Composer, and then I just cut it down from there and kind of, you just put it as a layer, and I just scale it down and make it
Yeah.
look a little prettier.
Yeah, it's cool though. I mean, I enjoy it. Like I said, I guess it has to be somebody that likes to see the stuff written out. But I've just always been one of those learners. I mean, I can listen to ear, but when it comes to something complex, I'd much rather see it written out. That I can see it and I can count it. But
Yeah, I agree. I'm trying to do more of them too, especially like I wouldn't call them simple grooves, but a little more like consistent grooves. I'm trying to do some more of those just because a lot of people that watch me play, and so it's like I'm sure they're going to want to sit down some days and be like, oh, let's just learn this groove. It's nice to have them there at least.
yeah, no, absolutely. No, I like I said, I enjoy it and keep it up. I mean, like I said, it's gonna definitely only appeal to the folks that enjoy seeing it, or being those.
Yeah,
Being somebody that really likes the notation, but I enjoy it, so it works for
Yeah.
me.
As I
yeah,
grow older in the
good.
years, as I grow older in age, I start to appreciate the notation and be able to read things out more than ever because it's like why not write yourself a little key and have things prepped.
Yeah, exactly. It's
That's what
it's nice.
it's just like having strategy laid out right in front of you, and that's something I never really thought about as a younger drummer.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's a little quicker to the punch to get something out of your practice routine.
Sure, sure, sure. Man, Charlie, I gotta say we've been running through this show much quicker than I anticipated, and while you are full of tons of information, and your story has been not only enlightening, but a testament to what it really takes to kind of get to the level of playing that you're at. I'm really excited to get into the lightning round, our rapid singles, and kind of hit you with some of these big questions that I think our listeners are going to be thrown back, slammed. It's going to be awesome.
All right, cool. Yeah, let's do it.
Awesome, man. So, just to kind of give the any new listeners, a breakdown. Lightning round is a set of 6 questions that we run through. They are gauged to kind of add some value to the show and kind of put you in a situation where, you know, any information you give for these questions is going to be notes that our listeners should be taking so that they can apply it to their everyday life. So,
Awesome.
without
As
further
drummers, of
ado,
course.
yes, as drummers, as drummers, I do feel a
Right,
lot
right.
of a lot of it applies to life though. So
That's true.
it goes both ways. But let's get this thing started and let's get started with our first question. Are you ready, Charlie?
I'm ready.
All right, let's go. What was holding you back from becoming a successful drummer? So what was that big leap you had to take to kind of get to the next level of your playing?
I would say committing stuff to recordings, whether it be video or audio, and just finishing work rather than just always wanting to put out the perfect item that, you hold on to and say, no, it's not good enough. No, it's not good enough. Because a lot of people start projects, whether it be a band or a drum solo-y thing, and it's easy to not finish them or bring them to a completion of some sort. And I just think once I started completing things and just saying, all right, it's finished, that was a big change for me.
Yeah,
For sure.
you gotta follow the GTD way of life. You gotta get things done, and that's probably one of my favorite answers I've heard thus far for this
Oh, that's
question, man.
good.
Just get it done. Just do the work. That's all
Yeah,
it takes at the
Yes,
end of the
yeah,
sir.
day.
exactly. Hmm.
Okay, so on to the next question. What is the best piece of advice as a drummer you have ever received?
Oh man, lots of good ones, I'm sure. Let's think of one that first comes to mind. I'll pick an easy one. So I don't remember who said it off the top of my head, but it was one of my teachers. I think it might have been Stanek, Dave Stanek. It was let the click play you, and I think a lot of guys have said that. Don't when you're playing to a click, um, don't play to the click and kind of play target practice, but let the click play you. That was always a good one, especially for live drummers if you're playing to a click,
Yeah, no,
because
I like that. That's cool.
it gives
That's
you
a great answer.
it gives you a false sense of security. Sometimes I catch myself nowadays too, um, where yeah, you're playing to a click, so you think you're grooving super hard the whole time, but in reality, like you're just using it as sort of like a marker, like a mile marker, and sometimes you'll still drive 80 between those 2 mile markers, or you'll drive 60, but you know what I mean, kind of.
Yeah.
The marker doesn't necessarily dictate your speed. So it's a good thing that I remind myself is to let the click play me, because otherwise it's just kind of it becomes a target practice thing. So that's the first one off the top of my head anyway.
That's really cool. I mean, and I'm just kind of trying to visualize that as you were saying it, and it's almost like maybe even like think of the click as just like part of the flow of the music. You know what I mean? And it's just going to
Exactly.
kind of
Yeah.
keep you right there. It'd be another great way to kind of verbalize that. That's a really cool answer.
Yep. Exactly.
Cool. Very
Dude,
cool.
really good answer. I'm kind of thrown back. I play to a click every time that I play music, and I've spent so much time thinking about the click being my groove and not so much making me be better at playing time, and that just hit really hard for me. So great answer, man.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Same with me. I play to one 100% of the time. I'd basically say, and it's yeah. I have to remind myself of that all the time, especially if I'm playing something ridiculous at like a fast speed.
Yeah.
Sure.
Very cool.
So on to the next question. What's a personal habit that contributes to your success?
I think my attention to detail, I would have to say, is probably the biggest one, just because that drives my like my self competitiveness or whatever, like to be the best I can be type of thing. My attention to just my dynamics, or there'll be a groove I play and I'll focus on the littlest dumb thing, but I feel like in the long run that probably helps me a lot, because then my goals are a little more specific and a little higher than they would have been if I was focusing on something a little less than, I don't know, a little more general. But
Sure.
I'd say my attention to detail, just for sound, for specifics, and in what I'm looking for with my grooves or whatever it may be.
Awesome. That's a
Cool.
it's a great answer, and it definitely shows. Definitely makes a lot of sense that you would say that. So
Yeah.
on to the next question.
Thank God for that.
Share a resource or tool that helps you survive as a drummer.
Say that again. The resource or what?
A tool.
tool.
Share a resource or a tool that helps you survive as a drummer.
I would say, oh man, it's hard to knock just online media in general, whether it be YouTube or Instagram, like online videos of drummers.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess personally, I'd have to go with that anyways, because yeah, without any of that, nobody would really know who I was yet. But yeah, the internet in general. If I want to be inspired, I'll go watch Benny Greb videos or whoever it is, and the fact that I can just watch one after another is pretty ridiculous, and it gets me inspired to go play myself. So
That's like
Absolutely.
80% of our answers, man. YouTube.
Yeah,
And
it
internet.
really is.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's
I
kind of hard
totally
to
agree.
get away. Yeah.
If I didn't have this Stanley Randolph video from Drumeo for the last couple of weeks, man, it has just been getting the job done for inspiration. It seriously has.
Oh yeah, it's
They
yeah, I
kill with
believe
those
it.
videos. Kill it.
Yeah, they Drumeo, oh, absolutely. That's some of the craziest, like, high quality, nice. They get killer drummers, killer sound, killer everything.
They're
Yeah,
leading
they
the
do a
pack.
great job.
They're leading the
They
pack.
do a
They
great
give
job.
away so much free stuff, and then on top of it, offer so much. It's just cool. I could talk about them all day.
Yeah,
But
I want to
move.
play. I want to play on there someday.
You could do it.
Right.
They'll
Yeah,
call you.
absolutely. Especially with your, I mean, with your aptitude towards music. I mean, do you teach on a regular basis at home?
I do, yeah.
I mean, I'm sure it'd be really cool to see some Charlie lessons on
I'm gonna be
Drumeo.
poking
I
ya.
think they would do awesome.
Yeah, yeah. I'll start pushing. I'll start pushing for it
Yeah,
soon and see what I can do.
that's right. That's right. We'll all start shouting, Charlie for
Shouting.
Drumeo. Plus, you're
Yeah.
you're in Minnesota. You're in Minnesota, right? So you're close. They're in Canada.
They're
So
in, like, I think they're in Vancouver, so it's a little far, but not really. I don't care
yeah,
anyways.
yeah. It's a little easier for you than it is for me, probably.
Definitely.
The wife's pressing me to move to Oregon, and I think that's pretty close to their headquarters. So I'm gonna have to stop
Oh,
in.
is it really?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay,
That
so
would be.
they're like west side. Yeah. See, what do I know here in Florida?
I'm getting over there. I'm going. I'm coming, Jared. I'm coming for you.
Yep, exactly.
So, without losing track here, let's move on to question number
Yep.
5. If you could recommend just one book, what would it be and why?
Right now, I have to say, I can't even think of the title. Hang on, it's Dave Stanik's book, who he taught at Oh, it's Mastering the Tables of Time. Dave Stanek teaches at McNally, and he was a big teacher of mine. And that book, it's kind of derives from, he studied with Marv Dahlgren, who's a Minnesota guy, and who did four-way coordination. So it's kind of based around that sort of approach, but it's really about like putting your limbs, I guess, against each other using different rhythmic uh, structures, I guess. So it'll be like, you might play, especially there's a certain section where you do polyrhythm stuff where you have your legs playing two different, so like 2 against 3 or 3 against 4, and then your hands will go through just the table of time. So it'll start with, I think it's, whatever, it starts with half notes and then to quarter notes, and half notes, half note triplets, quarter note triplets. You go up the whole scale, and you put it to a super slow tempo, and it is brutal. But it opens your body up so well, and you can feel like the muscles that fight each other, like whatever the exercise may be, it'll change obviously on what muscles are freaking on you. But it's amazing how that book helped me relax at certain speeds, because definitely a faster player. I like to be on the front edge of the beat or the tempo. And so that book really helped me pull back a little bit and like kind of enjoy sinking into a 60 beats a minute click or something, and have it click the quarter note. And yeah, it was super interesting to feel my limbs battle the whole time, because you can really figure it out in a quick way. Like, oh, my right arm has a problem with this rhythm over, it's really neat. And what I love is the book allows you to do what you want with it. So it basically gives you simple exercises, but then you can go as crazy as you want. You could turn those exercises into, groups of 5, and you could just go off the charts with it. So I like that. But yeah, Mastering the Tables of Time.
Is that a book that that most of us can find through
Oh yeah,
online sales?
Yep, it got pretty popular in its own way, with like Modern Drummer and all of them ranked it high, and so
okay.
Yep, it's available everywhere, I think.
Okay, excellent. Well, we'll make sure Richard will definitely get a link in there. So we'll
Yeah,
sure
nice.
link to that.
For sure.
And show
Definitely.
it all.
I'm gonna get the book and check that out. It sounds really interesting, for sure.
Yeah,
and that that whole thing kind of made me think of something else too. And we just got asked, hey Richard, what's your favorite metronome beat per minute?
Probably 50. Right now it's 50. 50 and between 50
I think
and
it's
60.
crazy. He
love it.
He loves it slow. He loves it slow.
Oh yeah, that takes a special talent, man. That's not
It
anybody
does.
can just sit down and do that. That's like
I know.
it's funny you say that. I've been getting into that. I first saw that Richard Spavin or whatever, a Meinl dude as well. And yeah, I first watched the video. I'm like, oh, that was pretty cool. And then I was like, I really started to enjoy the sort of like, I don't even know if relaxation is the word, because he kind of still jams in his own way at times, but that real kind of laid back sort of feel at times. And so now I've been trying to relax myself a little bit, but half the time I sit down and it's like all I hear is some crazy, spazzy double kick thing. But
Well, it's easy for us to do, isn't it?
yeah,
It's easy
but
for us to do.
play slow. I tell my students that all the time. Play slow. You'll get way better at drums playing slow than fast. That's for sure.
It's really helped me find myself on drums, I'd say. Find my feel. I really started out like playing with double bass, playing fast stuff, trying to play prog metal, really quick things, and I don't feel like I don't feel like I took the right approach to drums in the beginning of my playing career. And now to kind of, get back at that, I've really, like Kevin said, I spent the last year now sticking below 100 BPM during almost every practice session, and I would attribute a lot of it to like Bernard Purdy and some of these older cats that really teach to play slower. Watching these guys sit back and sink into a groove, it just
and those guys are all feel
so
guys
good.
too. They want to be back up, leaning back on that beat, and just it's all about feel.
Yeah, I enjoy listening to drummers do that a lot. Like when I listen to players, it's a lot of times it's that if I'm on a drum kick and I'm like, I want to watch some drummers, it's the more groove based guys than the spazzier guys like myself.
Yeah.
I think you've got the best of both worlds, man. I was
do
telling
too.
Kevin earlier, man. You are like the dream, the style of playing is exactly how I've always wanted to be. You're able to play locked into that pocket, and you'll be able to slam and play super fast blast beats. So you just got it all at your beck and whim. You just do whatever you want whenever you want. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I did the same thing you did. I spent it with that book, that Stanek book. I don't know how long it was, but it was many practices with him and at home where I would play super slow, and yeah, it changed my playing for sure. I don't think I would be as tight or controlled as I am now if I didn't take that whatever it was 6 months and really focus on playing super clean at a slow speed.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know what? I don't want to harp on it much too longer. I do want to move on to the
No.
next question, but I will leave it
Yeah,
at
for
this.
sure.
One thing I'll say about playing slow, that maybe a lot of people don't realize, is that even though you're playing a lot slower, it leaves you so much room to play anything you want. You can pick the speed up. You can play those fast fills. You just have so much room to think and really analyze what you're going to do on that next bar. It's really cool.
I completely agree.
So, yeah, moving on to the last question and the big question here on our
Dreaded question number 6.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, you should have listened for this one, buddy. Should have listened.
All right, I'm ready.
So
it's not that bad, and don't let them scare you.
I read it. I think I kind of remember it, but yeah, you got to tell me.
Well, I'll get it going now. So imagine you woke up tomorrow in a world exactly like ours. You still have all the same knowledge, the talents, the skill. You know everything that you know today, but you're in a world where you know nobody. Like you have none of the connections. Nobody knows who Charlie Engen is. You have to start fresh, but you have $500. You have a smartphone. You have a little drum set with pretty much a ride to go and play wherever you want, and your room, food, and board is all covered. What would be the first thing that you would do to kind of get yourself back on the bandwagon and out there as a drummer?
Oh man, that is brutal. All right. Well, being that I got the smartphone, I would definitely use that to start spreading my social media because that seemed to have worked for me now. So I would definitely use that to set up some accounts. But then I'd go to I would try to pull off one of those kind of more of a viral video, like go play my drums somewhere pretty crazy, and do like some nature style thing
sitting on the side of a cliff with a kick, a snare, and hi-hat, cranking out crazy beats.
something where you'll at least know people will watch it a little bit more than they would if you're just hanging out at your studio. So I would try that. I think I would try to pull off I don't know, maybe do it at some crazy monument thing where you might even have to get arrested at the end of your groove or something.
Right. Really any PR is good PR kind of a thing. It's yeah, man, it's going to be in the papers, or look at this drumming guy. Maybe it'll go viral, and and everybody be sharing it. And
I mean, it's a good start anyways.
Yeah, hey, you might get really lucky doing it that way.
Yeah. It's a better chance than just sitting at the street corner and jamming or something in New York,
That is true. That is true.
But that would probably be my normal way would be to, go to a street corner and start jamming and film it and put it on the internet.
Yeah. It definitely helps.
Yeah, it's I think that's the first time we've kind of heard that answer on this question.
Yeah, especially when it comes to playing somewhere where possibly you could get arrested. That is definitely, I like that. That's perfect. Because you're absolutely right. There's you're gonna have local news crews covering that. You're gonna have that in the papers. Somebody that's got way of a better chance of going viral. Now, not that we condone anybody do anything crazy around any sort of monuments, but
it's hypothetical.
Yeah, exactly. Totally hypothetical.
I'd go play my drums in the zoo.
There you go. Something funny.
Yeah, but the problem is if you pull off the wrong pen, you might not be able to enjoy the fruits of your labor. So,
or you might get eaten.
So, at least even if you don't get eaten, if you get mauled, you know what I mean. It's well, I made this cool drum video once, but that was the end of that.
No more drums for me.
So,
that's awesome. Because there's so many good reasons why things like that would really pay off for you. So great answer, man. That really sets itself in its own category for answers we've gotten for that question. So kudos.
Oh,
they're
funny.
always pretty colorful for that. I mean,
Absolutely.
because there's a lot of different ways you can go with that. So
What I love about the
Definitely
questions.
is.
We always get
Yep.
different answers. Yours are all unique in their own right. So awesome,
And
man.
that's
And
funny.
I think that about does it for the show, Charlie. We've really spent a lot of time getting to know you. I feel fulfilled. Kevin, how about you?
yeah, I mean, it's been a great talk, and I hope we see more in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll keep pumping out the videos, and I got some fun recording stuff going on that'll be fun to share with everybody here in the coming months. So, yep, you can find me online and keep up with everything because I pretty much post it every day. So,
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
can you remind the users real quick of all your social media handles and how they can get a hold of you for lessons?
yeah, I do. So it's always straight ahead. So it's on Facebook, it's just Charlie Engen Music, and then other than that, like Instagram, Twitter, and everything, it's just whatever.com/Charlie Engen. So YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. That's pretty much it. Yeah, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram,
So,
and then
and of course,
charlieengen.com too.
Hey,
it takes us to the end of the show to realize that we've been saying your
yeah, I
last
was
name
about to
wrong like
say
this
that.
whole
I've been
time.
such a
So,
dick.
yeah.
It gets said different no matter what. It's a weird last name, and I think it depends on where you're from in the country too. It has a lot to do with it. I don't even know how they say it in Norway, or I think it's pretty much all Norwegian or German, but um yeah, we always say Ingen like as if it was
Enyen. Okay.
Ingen,
Okay.
Yeah.
like
Okay. Enyen.
yeah,
I
like
can
you're
see that
wa
too, though. I'm looking at the
yeah,
spelling of it right now. I could definitely see that.
It all makes
yeah,
sense.
Ingen. Yeah. But
Well,
Yeah.
but
we
yeah.
In the future,
apologize then.
slap us upside the
Sorry.
head if we make that mistake again.
Yeah.
Oh, it doesn't even matter.
Good.
Cool,
Cool.
man. Cool. So now the
Oh,
users know how to find you, and I urge everybody to once again hit pause on your podcaster player and go check him out and book a lesson because you are going to learn something for sure.
Yeah, I'll make sure of that.
For sure.
right.
I'm
On
gonna be
your
setting up too.
podcaster, on your podcaster apparatus
On your
device thing.
podcaster apparatus, podcaster player device
So,
Exactly.
3.0.
Charlie, I think generally toward the end of the show too, we like to kind of give our guests any sort of space for any sort of shout outs. If you want to, say anything now to your sponsors, to your mom, to any fans, anything like that. If you want to promote what you're doing or anything like that, this is a great time to do it.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, I might as well thank everybody lately. Like my girlfriend has been amazing, Alyssa. I have to thank my parents and everybody because everybody's so cool about giving me the space and time needed to try to become the best player I can be, which is all any artist of any art form can ask for. So they've been great. Of course, thank my sponsors with Mino, especially lately. They've just been unbelievable to me. Going to be a lot of fun with them. I'm going to be doing some videos for them in the next month. That'll be released, on all their websites and mine. So that's going to be a great time. Adam and Drum Dial both have been amazing to me. They share my stuff all the time, and their products are awesome too. It's not like I just take sponsors for fun just because they, post me on their stuff or give me free gear. So really, all the companies have been so cool to me, even that I'm not endorsed with, like Vic Firth and Evans. So yeah, the whole drum community in general, I'd have to say thanks to because I've got nothing but love and support from everybody in a world where everything can be, hypercritical and just overanalyzed and just bashed in nonsensical ways. And I haven't dealt with any of that. So thanks to everybody who's been a fan.
Right. Well, I think that's still something to kind of love in the drum community, as I think more so than in other communities, we're all pretty good at being supportive of each other. You know what I mean?
I agree. Yeah.
Sometimes I think when you get those critical guys, especially nowadays, I think half the time they're just internet trolls. Half the time they're probably not even drummers, really. Some guitar player with
I
a
think
beef or
so.
something like that. So,
Yep. I
so
think
what's
so
nice is the
too.
drum community is just so supportive, and we're lucky to be drummers, especially in this technological time when we can all be more connected than we ever have been able to be.
Yeah, no doubt. I agree.
Very cool. Well, Charlie, it's been a fun chat. It's been great
Yeah,
having
fun
you on.
talk for sure. Thanks a lot for having me. It's been a good time. I'll talk drums for hours, so
No, absolutely.
fun to talk with other drummers.
Absolutely. We'll definitely have to be reaching out in the future and having you back on and kind of checking up on seeing what you're up to in a future time, and also
Yeah,
keeping up with all your social media to see what's going on too.
yeah, let's do it.
So we'll definitely be talking more.
Great, man.
All right, Charlie. Thank you, man. Thanks for being on the show. And yeah, like Kevin said, we'll be in touch soon.
All
Yeah,
right, thanks,
Charlie,
guys.
thanks.
All
Take
right,
care.
see ya.
Good night.
So that was quite the show. I have been dying to do that podcast for a very long time, and it was definitely worth the wait.
Yeah, we've been putting it together, and as I was just saying here before we recorded this quick outro, um, it's not one of our longer episodes, but there is a whole lot of information packed into this. I mean,
Right.
Charlie he just got flowing, and he was just talking, and it's all good, useful information. So you guys better be ready to go ahead and hit back and re-listen to the episode, and then go back and re-listen to the episode to make sure you get it all in there. So
Yeah, I
it's some good
agree.
stuff.
I agree. It makes me think two things, though, at the end of this whole podcast episode is that, A, I really wish that I had parents like that putting me through the motions of music at a young age. And B, I'm so excited that I've got my son like playing drums every day like a madman at 2, because I kind of feel like he could be like a Charlie Engen type player. Right? Did I say that right?
Engen,
Engen?
Engen. See,
Engen?
didn't we just went through this.
I know, it's tough to say. I'm sorry, Charlie.
Engen.
Sorry,
So,
Charlie. Oh my God, jokes all night.
yeah, see,
Fucking
Richard.
comedians. You're a bunch of comedians.
Oh, don't be a dick.
Yeah, man. But it shows that to play at the skill that he plays at, it really takes effort, time, patience, longevity. You know,
Not only that, I
a
mean,
drive.
he's gone through the schooling, he's gone through the education. I mean, he's broken it down to all levels. He reads fluently. He covers all the bases. I mean, for you guys looking, all you drummers out there that are like, I really think lessons will really take me to the next level. Well, you need to contact Charlie and go ahead and find a way to get some drum lessons, because that's the kind of guy that's gonna be able to give you what you need to help your playing. He's going to be able to look at what you can do. He's going to be able to isolate what you do well, isolate what you need to work on more. And those are the traits that you want to find in a good teacher. And you can tell Charlie has those traits. So good
Yeah, I'm
stuff.
booking mine. I'm booking my session right now. I've literally, I'm going to book a session with you, Charlie, and you're going to evaluate my playing and tell me how to be better. So, bam.
He would be the type of guy you'd want to do it with, I guarantee.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. But yep, you know what, man, that was just such a good episode. I don't want to trail on talking too much about it. But what I do want to do is I want to make sure that before they forget, our users hit pause, go to all their social media apps if they haven't already, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and add at Drummers I Like or / Drummers I Like on Facebook. And if you haven't subscribed to the mailing list, go to the website. It's on our sidebar. Super easy to do. We're getting ready to hit you guys with one of the biggest contests of the year, if not the biggest. And I think the one after that will be just as big. So it's important that you guys get signed up now, because they're going to be very specific to email, and the instructions are coming there first. So if you want to be, part of that first round draft pick, I would go hit that subscribe button on the email list and get set up, because it's going to be pretty big.
Draft.
I'm trying to be cool, guys.
Yeah. Well, hey, I like it. Either way, if you want to be if you want to have the chance to win some cool stuff, you just better keep an eye out.
Yeah, we haven't done a big contest in a while for a reason. It's because we really sat back and have been putting a lot of time and effort and thought into what we think is going to be A, worth your guys' time, and B, like, in just badass in general. So I think that we've achieved that, and by the time you're listening to this podcast, I think you'll be hearing about that first big contest. So stay tuned, everybody. Go ahead and, like I said, follow us. And before I even forget, one big thing: go leave us a review, because we've been getting a lot of reviews, and I think starting next week we're going to bring a section onto the show where we, continually review or continually mention our favorite reviews of the week, because we're pretty excited about some of the nice things that people are saying. So
Oh,
Keep them
there we
coming,
go. See,
guys.
that's right. Put the reviews up there. We'll give you a shout out. We'll read the review. We'll throw you some love. Maybe you can. Maybe we'll put a link to share a video or something. Of your playing, if you so desire. So who knows? Just reach out. Let us know. That's what we're here for. We're drummers. Trying to put out more stuff for you drummers. So come talk to us. Let us know what we can do. Leave us reviews. Leave
Holler
us
at us.
comments.
Holla at us.
Send us emails. Do
Hit us
whatever.
up.
That's right. You know how to get a hold of us.
Yeah, you know how to get a hold of us, guys. And if you want to send us an email, it's info@drummersilike.com, or, of course, Richard or Kevin at drummersilike.com. We would love
That
to
is-
hear from you. And if you have any questions or concerns, let us know. And I think that about wraps it up for this episode, Kevin.
I think so, Richard. It's time.
It's time to go to bed. My son wants me to put him in bed. He's in there screaming, Dad!
I'm ready for that myself. I'm
My
ready for
wife's
bed
gonna
as
give me
well.
my wife's gonna give me a beat down afterwards for making her wait so
No,
long.
she's not. Don't lie. Don't lie.
Happy wife, happy life, gentlemen. Remember that.
There's something to be said about that. On that note, Richard, good night.
Good night, everybody. Have a great night.